Okay, gents, let's now focus on the friendly coming up this week for the US men's national team against Uzbekistan. You can watch it on Telemundo and on Peacock in Spanish. So we'll have you covered on Pro Soccer Talk with all the details about how to do that. We'll have analysis, reaction, video highlights, and much more. Nick, they're hosting this game in St. Louis, which many people would say is the home of US soccer historically. If you look at the amount of players that have been produced from that area, Josh Sargent, Tim Ream, obviously recently are the kind of bigger names from St. Louis. And all the big guns are here for the US in terms of Pulisic and leading all the star European players coming over. What are we expecting? Because Pulisic, Weah, Balogun in attack, I'm really excited to watch that play out. And I feel like we should, in theory, be seeing a big win against Uzbekistan, right?
Yeah, I'm going to hold this team over these next two games to the Pep Guardiola ruler, which is performance, because I don't want to tell you, of course they should win. Honestly, they should win 3-1 at worst because they're figuring out the center back situation. But they outshoot Uzbekistan, 20-7 and lose on a freak bounce. You can't call that a failure, right? Like this is Berhalter's first chance looking at these guys. It's not ideal with Tyler Adams out. So yeah, I think performance.
Andy, what are you most looking forward to in this game and this camp overall?
Yeah, it is a good opportunity to figure out a midfield solution beyond Tyler Adams. Because as good as Tyler Adams is, he might not always be available. He might at Copa America or a World Cup, maybe pick up a suspension and you have to play a key game without him, or he might pick up an injury and he might not be available for an entire He is really, really important to this team. He's been really good for his clubs over the last few years. And so it's obviously you want to have your best players available. But beyond that, like when he's not been there, they've not looked good. They have not looked good at all. And so I think an opportunity, is it going to be Luca De La Torre in a little bit more of a passer's role? And you're going to ask Weston McKennie and Yunus Musa to do a little bit more defensive work? I kind of lean that way because you have to be able to build up from the back, especially against Uzbekistan and Oman in these two games. And De La Torre's had some experience. I think they're in the midfield as well. So if they can look functional and they can look like they know what they're doing without Tyler Adams on the field, that's going to go a long way to giving, to your point, Joe, giving that group of attackers the platform that they need to go forward and really dominate this game as they probably should.
Nick, who are we looking forward to seeing in this camp and any players we hope can maybe take a chance? Because I think we kind of know the best 11 for the USMNT now. We've known it for a while. And now Balogun's around. We kind of know he's there as the main number 9. But I look at someone like Malik Tillman, obviously started the season really well for PSV, got a good move there after what he did at Glasgow Rangers. And he feels like he's got a big role to play in that number 10 position with Pulisic wide, Weah on the other flank. And, Brendan Aronson is lacking in confidence, I think it's fair to say, over the last 6 to 12 months. But obviously he's a player that probably needs to take this chance as well. But I'm excited to see Tillman play. Anybody else that you think has a big opportunity in this camp and in this game in particular?
Well, yeah, I want to know what the back four is going to look like, because you did your projected 11 and I looked at it and I assumed it was right. And then I thought about it and I shouldn't say I don't trust Greg Berhalter in terms of identification of talent or whatever, but I don't trust anyone else's reading of what he wants to do. And that was only complicated by Jesus Ferreira starting for his first ever World Cup minutes in a knockout round game against the Netherlands. I think Greg is a smart guy who is capable of thinking he's found a solution that no one else has. And so tell me what I'm going to see at the back. You're right, by the way, about the number 10 position, but I'm also looking at that and thinking, well, what does Greg think about Pepe? What does he think about Aronson still? How does he view Timothy Weah? Again, remember, this is a guy who told us 2 months before the World Cup that Tim Ream wasn't World Cup material, and he went on to play every minute for him. So I'm interested to see, does this look the same as it did under the 2 interim managers? Because I feel like was Berhalter picking those lineups as well for his former assistants. It's hard for me to pick a guy because every guy on this roster, short of Pulisic and Musa maybe, could have a very different role under this coach than many other coaches.
Andy, what are you looking forward to, mate? Any players that you have got your eye on? Because as Nick mentioned it there, could kind of be anyone in midfield and defense to kind of see if they can stack up, right? I mean, we know what most of these guys can do, but there's a few new names in these rosters that Greg Berhalter might give some opportunities to in these games.
Yeah, there's some new names. I'll pick a newer name, but not a totally new name. Going forward, until further notice, it's Balogun. Just what is the development, not just as an individual player, but within the group and the team, and now under the permanent head coach and his system going to look like? Because we've spent, I mean, Nick, how long have we been doing if only the U.S. men's national team had a number 9 that could score goals? We've been doing that for 20 years. And now they finally have a guy who's doing it at a pretty big place in Europe. And obviously he gets a move to Monaco, and he showed well in his first couple appearances for the U.S. And so does that continue? I like Nick's point there about, Berhalter. Berhalter should come in and form a new opinion of everybody, I think, in this this tenure as head coach of the team. He shouldn't come in, aside from maybe the obvious names, and say, okay, this is what you're going to do, this is your role in the team. And Balogun is going to be the most interesting one to me, because in theory he fits really well to the way that Greg Berhalter teams have played in the past. If you look back to the way that his Columbus Crew teams played in MLS, he's going to stretch back lines. He's going to open up a ton of space underneath for the rest of those attacking players. And so I'm very excited to see what Balogun does under Berhalter and how he decides that he wants to utilize him, how he wants to set up chances for him, because we've been waiting for a player like this for a long time. And finally, we hope, we've said this before, he's here.
Yeah, I mean, Balogun is Zardes and Tyler Adams is Will Trapp, essentially.
Sure.
Columbus Crew team. Similar players. One more thing I'm really excited about is the centre-back situation. Tim Reams in the squad, we know how good he is, but we also know, he's 35 years of age, so he might not make it to the next World Cup. With Walker Zimmerman not being in this squad, Miles Robinson, I think before his injury, was the next man up, but now you've got Chris Richards and also Mark McKenzie in these squads. So I think there's opportunities for those guys there to maybe 2 of them can play together in the future. There's some good young centre-back options there who are playing in Europe. I think Chris Richards needs a move to kind of kickstart his career, not playing at Crystal Palace regularly. So again, it'll be interesting to see in that area of the pitch what's going on. But hey, it'll be interesting to see what's going on all over the pitch as the USA plays against Uzbekistan. First game back for Greg Berhalter on the sidelines. And here at Pro Soccer Talk at NBCSports.com, we'll keep you covered with all the latest how to watch information, team news, reaction, analysis, video highlights. We'll have you covered with these US friendlies coming up. First one's in St. Louis, USA against Uzbekistan. Cannot wait for that, gents. And thank you so much for joining me this week. Really appreciate it as always. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll speak to you all very soon indeed. Cheers, guys.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host for NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch more videos all season long. And for even more Premier League content, from original series to live matches, head over to Peacock. And be sure to tune in for Premier League mornings every weekend on USA Network and on Peacock. We will see you there.